Hello, grade 3. Welcome to Ajul International School's virtual English class. Today I will show you how to answer comprehension questions to help you get prepared for your exam. There are certain steps that I want you to follow when you get to answer any comprehension questions. The first thing is to skim through the questions. Now, of course, you'll be having a passage and then some questions to answer. Before you get to read the passage, I encourage you to look at the questions, okay, and have an idea what is it about. Let's say if it's sequence or compare and contrast, you will immediately know. And based on that, you will underline the key words, okay, that are related to the questions. Read the text carefully. Start reading the text. Read it, understand it very well. Underline the key words, just as I said. There are key words that will help you answer the questions. It can be even sentences, not necessarily words, complete sentences that help answer the questions. The last thing is to answer the questions in complete sentences. Now, do not give me short answers. Like, for example, if I tell you, what did Sam do? You will answer, he went to the park. Okay, this is not a complete sentence. This complete sentence includes the subject and the predicate. So it will be, he went to the park. Okay, so provide me with complete, meaningful sentences. So let's apply this on the first passage here that we'll do together. Let's say I have this passage and I have diagrams. Before I read, I will look here, the diagrams and the question. I don't have to understand the question first. Let's just, see what is there. There are diagrams and there are the clue words that I told you about, first, second, next, last. Also, this must be the sequence. Okay, so I'll put in my mind that this is sequence while I'm reading, so that I would underline the key words that will help me answer the questions. Let's read the directions first. Read the following told tale. Complete the timeline to show the important story events in the correct sequence. Then answer the question. So we're going to complete this timeline, okay, in the correct sequence, and then we will answer this question. Michigan Mike was a big man. He was as tall as Paul Bunyan and as strong too. So we have this man, Michigan Mike, was as tall as Paul Bunyan. Okay, remember that this is a tall tale. We took before that tall tale uses exaggerated events. When I ask you to do the pic collage, most of you put pictures related to Paul Bunyan because he's a famous folk hero. Okay, so that's why this was the thing that appeared to you when you search for tall tale and you've put it in the pic collage. Anyway, let's continue. Mike and Paul liked to play jokes on each other. So what did they do? They liked to play jokes. One morning, Paul was wading in the middle of Lake Michigan. So what was Paul doing? He was walking through the water through the middle of Lake Michigan. Then he saw Mike walking by. The next thing anyone knew, Paul had grabbed a huge pail and poured water over Mike's head. So, one morning, Paul was wading in the middle of Lake Michigan. This is what he was doing. Paul. And then we have this clue word that tells me what happened then. He saw, so underline, he saw Mike walking by. The next thing, that's the third thing that happened, Paul had grabbed a huge pail and poured it over Mike's head. So he grabbed this pail and spilled it over Mike's head. Mike jumped back into the middle of the state. But after, again, there is a clue word. He saw Paul, he roared out a big laugh and shook his head hard. Giant drops of water scattered all over the state. So, when Paul poured water over Mike's head, Mike jumped back into the middle of the state, and when he saw Paul, he roared out a big laugh. He laughed, and he shook his head hard. Okay, he shook it because he was filled with water, and the drops that came out, okay, spread all over the state. Like these drops were scattered all over the state. Each huge drop turned into a little lake because the drops are very huge. It turned to little lakes in Michigan. And they're telling you that's why Michigan has so many lakes today. Of course, this is not true. Okay, as I said, it's a tall tale. It seems larger than it really is. This is not real. Okay, it's unrealistic. So this is the story or the passage. And what did we do while we're reading? We underlined keywords because we knew that it is sequence. What were the keywords? Then, next, after. Because I know that I'll be asked about the sequence. So, here, the first event. What was the first event? We have then. Then means something happened next. Okay, so there is an event before then, which is the first. What is it? Paul went wading in Lake Michigan. This is the first thing that happened. He was walking through the middle of Lake Michigan. Okay, so this is number 1. Second event, then helps me know what happened next. He saw Mike walking by. Mike walked by. The third, which is the next event, the next thing anyone knew, Paul had grabbed a huge pail and poured it over Mike's head. So Paul poured water over Mike's head. The last event, okay, is what happened after that. After that, he saw Paul, he roared out a big laugh and shook his head hard. Giant drops of water scattered all over the state. So I can say Mike jumped to the middle of Michigan. Okay, I have to include this small detail. I know that it's before after, but I have to put it because look here, if I just said that he shook water out of his hair, I have to make it clear what happened before that. What made him shook water out of his hair? He jumped to the middle of Michigan and shook water out of his hair. Okay, so we have to make this part clear in order to write shook water out of his hair. Okay, so what happens after the word after is the final thing. Okay, that Mike jumped to the middle of Michigan and shook water out of his hair. Number 5. What clue words from the story helped you fill in the timeline? What are the clue words that help me know the timeline that is used in the passage? Then, next, after. There are only 3. Okay, let's move on to this passage. We did it in the revision class that was on Thursday, but let's do it again together so that you would know how to answer such a comprehension text. Open your readers and writers to page 63. Again, it is sequence, but how will I know that it is sequence? I will skim through the questions. Before I read the text, what do? I look at the questions very quickly. I do not have to look through each question. I can just take an idea. What is it about? When did Tina, when also, this means that there might be sequence. What did Tina glue on the fabric after she sewed? When did Tina, oh, so when here, there's time, so there's sequence, clue words, first, next, when the things happened. This means when I get to read the passage, I underline the clue words that I told you about, first, second, then, next, finally. And what comes after first, then, next, finally, because of course I'll be asked about it. Read the following passage, draw a line under the words or phrases that help you follow the sequence. So we will draw a line under the words that help me know the sequence of the events. And then we will answer. Tina's mother liked to watch rainbows. Tina decided to make her mother a rainbow. So her mother liked to watch rainbows. So what did Tina thought of? She thought of making her mother a rainbow. First, again, get back to the directions. What does it say? Draw a line under the words or phrases that help you follow the sequence of story events. So what are these words? These are the clue words. Look here. First. You have first. She found a large piece of white fabric. Also underline this for you to answer the questions, okay, to help you find the order. So you will know directly, instead of reading the whole text again, that this is the first thing that happened, okay? If you don't want to underline it, you can circle it. So first, what did she do? She found a large piece of white fabric. She sewed a row of red buttons to the fabric. She sewed a row of red buttons to the fabric. So she has this fabric, okay, piece of cloth, like that, and then she sewed red buttons. This is the first thing she did. Next, underline the next clue word. She sewed a row of orange buttons under the red buttons. Then, so the first thing, she sewed a row of red buttons. Next, she sewed a row of orange. The next thing is orange. Here it would be an orange color. I would have colored it for you, but because we don't have time, I won't be doing it now. Then Tina found some yellow and green glitter. She used glue and made a row of yellow glitter and then a row of green glitter under the buttons. Then found some yellow and green glitter. What did she do with it? She used it to glue a row of yellow glitter and then a row of green glitter. This is the row. Okay? So she used the glitter to glue the she glued the yellow and green glitters. Okay, she made a row of yellow and then the green glitter under what? The buttons. Next, so we have another clue word. Next, we underline it. Tina found some blue fabric scraps. She found some blue fabric scraps. She sewed the blue fabrics under the green glitter. So the green glitter that she glued, okay, she sewed the blue fabric under it. This is what she did next. Then Tina found some violet buttons. Another clue word. She sewed a row of violet buttons under the blue fabric. Finally, Tina made fabric loops to hang her rainbow. Now her mother can see a rainbow any time. What did she do? The last thing, she made fabric loops. In case you don't know what loops is, it is the thread or rope used for hanging things, okay? So she used it to hang the rainbow. Now her mother can see a rainbow anytime. Why? Because she likes rainbows. Now we will look at the questions. When did Tina sew orange buttons to her fabric? When did that happen? You will look again here. First, she sewed a row of red buttons. Next, she sewed a row of orange buttons. So when did this happen? After she sewed a row of red buttons. She sewed it after she sewed the red buttons. Look here. Complete sentence with a subject and a complete predicate. Okay, so do not just give me the answer, give a complete sentence. When did Tina glue on the fabric after she sewed the red and orange buttons? When did she glue it? What did Tina glue? She glued the yellow and green glitter. So what did Tina glue on the fabric after she sewed the red and orange buttons? We look here. She sewed a row of orange buttons, and we already said the red. The red was the first thing, and then the orange. Then she found some yellow and green glitter. So she glued yellow and green glitter. This is what she did next. Okay, so the first thing was that she sewed a row of red buttons. Next, a row of orange buttons. Then she glued yellow and green glitter. This is what she did then. When did Tina sew the violet buttons? She sewed it after she sewed the blue fabric. So we look here. Look for violet. Where is the word violet? Here it is, violet. And we underlined it. So, when did she sew the violet buttons? I look for the sentence before it. Okay? So this means she sewed it after the blue fabric. What did Tina do last? What was the last thing that she did? Okay, again, we look for the clue words that help us know the sequence. The word finally is written when we indicate something that happened in the end. So what did Tina do last? She made fabric loops to hang her rainbow. Write the colors Tina used in the sequence she used them. Why do you think she did things in this order? So there are two things that we have to write. The colors that Tina used, and then why did she use it in this particular order? Okay, first let me erase the things that we don't need to underline. They told us only the clue words. So let's just erase this. Okay. only underline the words that help you find the sequence. Okay, we underlined it only for us to understand. Let's erase the circle and underline instead. Finally. So we have first, next, then, next, then, finally. So write the colors Tina used in the sequence she used them. What are the colors? It's not white fabric because she found a white fabric. So she didn't use it. This is the fabric she used to, this is the fabric for stitching the buttons. So she didn't use white. This is the color of the fabric only. What did she use? She used the buttons, the red, this is the first one, and then the orange, and then we have the yellow, green. See, you have to write them in sequence. It would be incorrect if you write, for example, blue first, then green, then yellow. No, write them in order. Yellow, green, blue, violet only. Why do you think she did things in this order? Because she was following the order of colors in a rainbow, because her mother likes rainbow and she's doing that for her. Okay, now wait for the next video, which is compare and contrast.